Ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first to welcome you to the SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500 East Tennessee Regional Competition. My name is Will Scott. I'll be with you all day. We're going to get into the action real quick. We are only about 30 seconds into this competition. They've got 1 hour to see who can lay the most brick. But this competition is not only about quantity, it is exceptionally high quality that these judges are going to be looking for today. Right here we have a tight shot on Mr. Josh Coleman and his tender, Cleve Pruitt. Josh is really excited to compete out here. His father has actually competed in this competition several times before, so he is very, very intimately familiar with how this works. He said he's looking at laying about 500, maybe 600 brick. He wasn't looking for a massive, massive number today because he believed that quality was what's going to win it for him. So what Josh is doing right now is he's building what masons call the leads. Now, before he was able to start building these leads, he had to come out about 2 hours ago and build what we call the starter course. This is just a bunch of block and brick to be able to square up his wall so he's laying in a nice flat motion. It was kind of difficult to do out here at the fairgrounds. As we pan this camera, you'll be able to see Josh had to build up his working side about 18, 19 inches high just to get back to even. And as we tighten up on the shot on this side, you can see he only needed about one block, one brick. Down on the other end, he was looking at 2.5 block and a course of brick just to square him up. See him really taking his time here. It doesn't look like he's moving exceptionally fast, but that's exactly the purpose. What these leads do is they give you basically a bookend at each side of the wall to give you a starter, so when you start laying in the middle of the wall, you can really pick up some speed. Interesting to see how many courses high these guys are going to lay. Again, the amount of time it takes to build a lead is a whole lot more than actually laying the middle of the wall. So the higher these leads are, the more time they're losing to actually fill in. Here in stall number 3, no stranger to the competition, Mr. Tim Campbell. Tim has competed several times in the past. I've seen him win several regionals, so really excited to have him out here this year. As you can see, he's also working on his leads. Tim does not go quite as high as a lot of these guys when he builds them. He often likes to put in only about 4 to 5 courses at a time. He fills in, then he comes back and builds leads as needed. Kind of a unique mindset when building these things. A lot of these guys like to get all the way up to 7, sometimes even 8 courses high. But he feels like if he can get a shorter course started and really get some brick on the wall, he's going to be able to intimidate a couple of these other guys when they see his wall filling in. Now, he does have a first-time tender this year, Mr. Tim Hare. You can see him behind there getting everything set up. He's taking his time. He's making a little bit of space in between all these brick. That way, as soon as Tim reaches back, it's real easy for him to grab. Staying in close because we're really going to watch him take his time. He said anyone can lay something fast, but not everyone can lay them fast and straight. So he's really focused on the quality in this competition. So he knew he was not going to get in a big rush. He's had a couple of injuries in the past, so he said he's not 100%, but he wanted to come out here just to prove to everyone that he's still got it. And he's got a few people that he has to impress. This is actually Fred Campbell's brother. So for those of you who are familiar with the BRICKLAYER 500, Fred Campbell's a guy who has done a fantastic amount of work with the industry alone, but not only is he doing all kinds of support, he's also a 3-time national champion at the BRICKLAYER 500. So really cool to see these guys keeping it in the family. They help each other out, give each other tips, but at the end of the day, each one wants to beat the other. he might get 3s, maybe 4 high. He has only gone 2 high. He is ready to start laying some brick. Here in stall number 4 with a first-time mason, Mr. Jose Hernandez. He said he was not even nervous. He's just excited to compete. He's with his brother Felix. Felix actually competed in this competition last year, so really cool to see that these guys are going to work together. Felix is able to give him a few little tips to give him an idea of what this competition is like. But again, a first-time mason, not having any nerves, just ready to do his absolute best. He's really shooting for a clean wall as well. 500 is the number he was looking for, and he just said if he does better than his brother, that's about all he really needs in his life. What a fantastic job he's done going ahead and adjusting. It looks from the other side that he's only going to want to go about 4 courses high before he starts filling in. So right now he is making sure everything is perfectly square because he does not want to get dinged on the plumbness of this wall. I mean, that's a 50 brick deduction at the end of this competition, so he knows he cannot afford for this thing to go even a little bit out of plumb before he gets started. If you'll pay attention, look how soft he lays that brick down. His handwork is incredibly smooth. That's important. If you look at the mortar, it's absolutely fluffy. It's a little bit looser than we see a lot of times in the beginning of this competition, but that's perfect for him because he is very smooth as he drops each brick into place.
Campbell over here with his students. We got a lot of time. So the class is a deep book, so it's actually here the mud we can slide here with those wonderful clouds. I just give a little bit more so you know how to use it and use the stuff. For a part, what do you think about here? Alright, so you guys two competitors out here from the company. So hopefully
Install number 5 is Mr. Charles Gross, and Charles actually competed several times with us, and he said at his age he sure is happy that he had to build up his course almost 24 inches. It allows him to stand up as he gets started, so he's not having to do quite as much crouching. He said that he felt a little bit beat up, felt a little bit old, but he's actually got another guy from his competition, or his company, competing in this competition. Now, they've been giving each other a little bit of grief throughout the last few weeks, so it was time for Charles to make sure he proved he still got it. Behind Charles is Timothy Blackdeer. That was a tender that's actually his first time that he's ever been involved in this competition. He said he wasn't nervous at all. You can tell he looks awfully calm right now. He's done a good job of getting the mortar on the board shook up very quickly. He's already got several bricks split out and even turned on a little bit of a 45, let's say maybe a 30-degree angle to make it nice and easy for Charles as he starts moving down this wall.
Okay, Championship Tour. Thank you so much for coming out today. National sponsor Ford. Also this time, Golden Bricklayer national sponsor still.
Stall number 6, we're looking at Brandon McClanahan, also no stranger to the competition. He's competed 3 times, but Brandon's actually had a lot of training from a lot of very talented brick masons, so he knows exactly what he's doing, even with that limited experience. He, if you'll pay attention, Brandon feels comfortable laying this brick with gloves. A lot of times these bricks come off a little bit sharp, so some of these guys will actually put a glove on their left hand to be able to keep the brick from cutting anything into the fingers. A lot of guys don't feel comfortable at all with that. Often we'll see guys that do nothing more than just put a little bit of tape on their fingers to help protect it. Brandon said he lays like this all the time on some of the larger projects that he does, so he knew that he was going to be okay and had plenty of feel with a glove that size. You can see just on the last 4 or 5 bricks, he's really picked up the pace. I can tell he's starting to get a good feel for it. He credits a lot of his success for his ability to lay brick to his father. That's actually a tall him. He's a 2nd generation mason. In fact, on top of that, he's even invited his brother, Justin McClanahan, to tender for him. So really neat to see these guys keeping this a family tradition.
Let's give a big round of applause for this free lunch when they're ready to go. Free lunch and back on the back by the rest of the ticket office. So there we go. Now we got a rush going on. We don't know if they're ready yet.
Stall number 7, Aiden Badivia. I'll be honest with you, we watched him lay last year. He said he's grown a lot. He was able to put a lot of brick in the wall, but he knew that he was going to be in trouble when he started seeing quite a bit of tipped brick coming out. So he's taking his time a little bit this year, considering the total speed. But when we talked a little bit about the leads in the beginning, we talked about the heights. And what we've seen so far is no higher than 4. Some of these guys only going about 2 courses. Looks right here, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 courses high on this lead. Again, what this is going to give him is a lot of potential running room if he's got some good speed towards the end of this competition, but he is absolutely burning time on this at this exact moment. So really excited to see which style or which competitive advantage these guys are going to have at the very end of the show. Just talking to the cameraman, we were trying to figure out about what he thinks he can lay at 9 courses high. Double white, they're going to get about 80 brick per course. 80 brick per course at 9 high is going to give him 720 brick. That is what he is shooting for, and he has made it very obviously clear. So yeah, again, very excited to see how much he's going to be able to fill in. Normally we would have moved on because we had to know what else everybody's going to be able to lay. But it looks like he is not done yet. He's got 1 more brick to stick on top of this. That is 10 brick high. 10 brick meaning 800 brick is the goal. That is a Vegas winning number. So let's see how he can do as we move on. Big. He may be last on camera, but he is first in our hearts in stall number 8, Mr. Tony Woodson, a first-time bricklayer at this competition. We talked a little bit earlier about Charles Gross being out here. There's only one guy out here that Tony knows he has to beat, and it is Charles. Not necessarily about the amount of brick he's going to lay. He just knows if he goes back to the company and he tells the bosses how he did, they'll never live it down. So we're going to keep the pressure on him today. Right behind him, we've got Johnny Pendergrass, also another first-time guy, so really excited to see how these guys do together. It looks like he's put about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 courses high is what he's looking at. Fairly ambitious, but at this speed, I mean, he's already got one side done at that height, and he's working very diligently on this side, so very, very possible to hit. But again, off he goes. But again, we're seeing a lot of speed on leads. Typically, this again is such a slow portion of the show. If you watch right there, he's putting up a Stabila level. That's one of the national sponsors for us. We don't typically take the time to plug them at this exact moment, but Stabila actually took the time to come out here today, has sent 2 of their employees and gave away free 2-foot levels to every single mason competing in the industry. So a very big thank you to them. Underlooked portion of the show is the amount of work these tenders put in. Often it looks like they're settling, but all they're doing is waiting for a big call out from a lot of these masons that are working. You can see they're spending plenty of time shaking up the mortar, keeping it alive. There's a lot of sun, a lot of heat. They're very, very lucky. They've got SPEC MIX mortar out here that's got a ton of board life. They're able to fluff that mortar up real nice for him. It's going to make it very, very easy for his mason to lay brick. Tightening up on Jose now. He's making a lot of good speed. He's got a little bit of a different technique. He's actually taking the time to butter each brick before he sticks it in the wall. Honestly, probably the fastest I've ever seen anybody do this technique. Normally what you'll see is the mason will cut each joint as they lay the brick and use it to hit the next one after the brick is laid. So a little bit different. You can see Tim, we mentioned before, he was going to take his time this year, make sure he put some quality brick in the wall. He is taking plenty of time setting each brick in place, making sure it is right on the line. He does not want any wide or fat bed joints.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
guess is he's gonna stick with his 2-course technique. He knows he was able to fill it pretty quick. Right here, we're seeing him lay on the back side of the wall. For those of you who do not lay brick very often, this is a very unusual technique. Something that SPEC MIX put into this competition to really separate the new guys from the experienced. Typically on a wall, you won't see very often a... sorry everybody at home, we are trying to stay out of the way of the mudslingers, making sure mortar is getting on these boards so these guys do not slow down. So again, typically we don't see much laying on a regular job site on the back side of the wall. It's a technique that's really gone away. Every once in a while, some of these large projects, we'll see them laying out of a window when they're doing some restoration work, something like that. But again, this is a technique that's kind of gone away for new masonry, but it's something that these guys are going to have to master. Talked a little bit ago about Jose's technique where he was taking the trowel, buttering the front of the brick before he laid each one. Now you're seeing the more typical where they're cutting and hitting the head joint in one motion. Saves a little bit of time as far as effectiveness, but again, Jose actually did not spend a whole lot of time. He was moving his brick and his trowel at the same time while buttering the front. So again, this is the more typical that you'll see. Looks like Josh is getting about 3.5 brick for every spread he has. That's a pretty average number of brick to coverage. If you'll see, he is obviously exceptionally smooth as he does it. Now, it doesn't look like it because he's making it look easy, but that is a lot of weight on his trowel every time he picks one up. So by the end of this competition, you imagine that forearm is going to be absolutely on fire. He is opting to lay the back side of the wall first. This is the more difficult side of the wall. But it looks like he is not making a mistake that we see a lot of young guys do. First-time competitors, when they spread this wall, they're in such a hurry that they don't put enough mud on the bed joint, leaving them lots and lots of voids. And more importantly than even the voids, what it does is it allows the brick to float in a direction whether there is less mud on the front or the back of the actual bed joint. So he's really taking his time, making sure there's plenty of mud on the bed itself. That way the brick has plenty of motion for him to be able to manipulate it with his hands.
Sorry, bud.
Again, we stopped in here just to highlight the different technique. You'll pay attention one more time. Every time he grabs a brick, he hits it with a little bit of mortar he had on the side of the joint. Really, really impressive that he's able to do that while in motion. It would be very, very easy for that mortar to fall right off of the head joint. But it looks like the mortar is plenty sticky enough for him to be able to keep it on as he is moving that brick in motion. Back to Brandon McClanahan. No surprise, there's very little movement in his wrist. He is laying these bricks about as perfect as he can in one motion. Often when these guys set a brick down, you'll see a little bit of adjustment in their wrist to make sure that the front of the brick is landing on the line. Brandon's obviously done this enough where several of these bricks do not take that exact amount of motion. Looks a little bit short on mortar. Let's see if he's going to have to adjust his. Nope, he was able to move his hand so smooth that the brick floated on top of mortar. That probably was a little bit less than he was looking for, but that tells you exactly what kind of competitor he is. He knows exactly how soft he has to drop that hand to be able to keep that brick from rolling that front edge down. What you can see, he had a little quick back stretch. You can tell being bent over like that is going to kill a lot of these guys by the end of this competition. If we'll tighten up right here on this lead, he's about to have to build. Brandon is actually only going about a brick down when he puts his line blocks on and his twigs up to where he is laying. It's a little bit rare. Some of these guys will often drop these blocks down a little bit lower to make sure that mortar has time to set. This brick look a little bit porous. It's what they call in the industry suckers. That's a brick that pulls a lot of moisture out of the mortar. So that's actually working out very well for him, that the mortar is able to set up so quickly underneath that brick, but still stay so fluffy for the top for him to actually build. So very, very interesting to see how each guy will do it very differently. A lot of these guys are going to be way too nervous, afraid that the mortar's not going to be set up. They drop the brick a little bit lower just in case, or drop the block, I should say, a little bit lower just in case, because if you're pulled up too tight, too close to where you're actually laying, that mortar's too fresh. You got a brick that has a low IRA, meaning it's not going to grab as much moisture out. It's very easy for that block pressure to push, or pull, I should say, pull that brick forward and make your lead out of plumb. Looks like it only took Aiden about 28 minutes to finish his leads. Again, that's a very, very big number as far as time goes, but now all he has got to do is lay brick as fast as humanly possible. Aiden doing a little bit of talking to himself, making sure he is in good shape. He's doing a little bit of talking to his tender, making sure he's got plenty of mud on each board. It looks like 4 out of the 5 gator backs are completely filled. The one he is using to build the leads is a little thin, but he's going to take a little less mortar on it. So that's something we're going to see throughout the competition, especially towards the end. The communication between these guys is critical. Tony's actually been in the industry for about 18 years. In the last 14 years, he's been laying on the wall. It looks like you can really tell. He's laying this backside, and he's doing something rookies don't typically do. He's taking his time. Often you'll see a cut, and then it'll hit the front of the brick. And sometimes he'll actually butter the brick if he looks a little bit short on mortar. So that's something most of these guys do not see. They get in a rhythm, they want to stay in that rhythm, and that's how you get the speed. But if you're not paying attention to how much mortar is in your bed joint, it can really hurt you, especially on this backside wall. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you will not find a better fit at the end of a wall than that right there. His last brick landed perfectly, which means every one of these hip joints on the wall was perfectly spaced, about 3/8 of an inch from what I can tell. So very, very impressive quality right here. We're gonna back up a little bit. We talked a little bit about the blocks these guys use. Often they'll set their blocks much, much lower. As you can see on this one, plenty low. He knew that he was not going to have any movement in that block. Some of these guys only going about a course away from where their actual twig is going to be laying. He knew that he did not want to have to mess with that, so he is actually leaving his block and pulling that line tighter and tighter for each row he goes up. Another interesting motion right here. He is taking the time to spread one side of the wall at a time. Some of these guys are spreading both the front, or what we call the working side, and the backside wall at the same time. He has opted to spread one at a time. You can see the speed that he is moving at right now. Very, very impressive. Also, you watched him drag his trowel all the way down the wall. That's called furrowing, and what that does is it allows a little gap in the middle and press up mortar on the front and the back side of where the brick is going to be laid. It's going to give him some control to make sure that the brick does not roll forwards or backwards. We'll keep an eye out for that, because a lot of guys may spread this wall and try to put a soft hand on it, drop the brick in place. A lot of these guys know that furrowing that mortar is going to give them a better chance to make sure the front and the back side of the brick stays even.
And is that a gripper or is that a more smear on your face? each other basically do work together to stay company. But anyway, I do like to see the cement on your Oakleys. Yeah, that's nice. Yes, it is. Okay, we'll talk about the Oakley situation later. All right, back to the competition. So, we got 25 minutes left. 25 minutes left to 33 layer 500. 25 minutes left to go. I mean, it's 25. 25 minutes left to Sam. And Sam, the way these things are going, it's going to be good on the mortar, I think. Believe Sam.
Very impressive work so far. Again, we're getting to see the last brick in the line lay out. He did not have to shift it forwards or backwards. He knows his head joints are in great shape. Really fun to watch him. He spent a lot of time working with several different masons in town. He's actually out of Kentucky, and I tell you what, if he wins this competition, I have no doubt he is coming from Mr. Cole Stamper, who won our Columbus, Ohio competition. So really fun to see a couple of local guys going at it in Vegas. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
24 minutes left. 24 minutes left. 24 minutes.
That's right. We are well over halfway with only 24 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Very best work. You have the fullest head joint. A lot of people are off by a quarter of an inch. A lot of the block, brick are not level together. Quality for quantity.
Yeah, seeing more of that communication we talked about, absolutely critical if these guys want to know. Again, often Charlie is getting his head down, he's getting work put in, he's feeling good about his number, but his tender is giving him an idea of what joints look a little bit fat, especially on the bed joints, because he knows he's going to have to settle some of those bricks down. They were at almost half an inch. That's going to put him out of the tolerance that we have set for quality. So he took the time to tap a few back down. So very, very good idea to make sure that he's not going to get hurt at the end of this competition when the judging comes through.
Ya mejor voy a nivelarlo con los que van para afuera y con los que van para adentro, ¿vale?
Se va doblando mucho para acá, para el lado de Conectín, se va doblando. Bloquean las de acá, mejor para el derecho. Ándale.
Okay, folks, we are coming down to the final 18 minutes. 18 minutes left.
For those of you that can hear in the background, we've only got about 18 minutes left.
We have a workforce development program. Very excited keeping our industry strong. Let's cheer on our junior bricklayers.
Just talked about furrowing in the mud. You can see he takes his trowel and gives it plenty of motion to make sure that the mortar is split nice and even. Let's see if he does it again on this course. Yep, he's going to take his time. Make sure that he's got exactly what he needs on the front and the back side of the brick.
Do it now. bro. That's 2 shiners up there. Watch your brake. Watch how you turn them on me.
The audio is typically pretty good on what we're recording on, so you may have heard exactly what he said. He is letting his tender know that when he orients the brick, or when he sets the brick up, he needs to turn it a specific direction. Because Tony here, or Josh, I should say, Josh likes that he turns the brick one specific direction every time. So if the brick is backwards, he's going to end up laying what we call in the business a shiner, right? That is a brick that is turned the opposite direction. You can tell on these bricks. You can tell on these bricks, the back and the front, from how smooth it is. It's actually got a pretty decent grit and grain on the front. The back is fairly smooth, but that is very difficult to see when you're laying as quick as Josh has been laying. So he needs to make sure that his tender is orienting the brick where when he grabs and turns one specific rotation, that the front is always landing towards the front.
18 minutes left. 18 minutes left.
18 minutes left.
I'm just gonna wear these out, right?
You don't often see it, but we came back to Aiden's stall because he is flying. Again, Aiden's the one who went nearly 10 courses high on one side of his lead, so he has plenty of room to play, and he is absolutely blowing and going at this exact moment.
We're coming up to 15 minutes left in SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500. Up to 15 minutes left at this time. Once again, I'd like to thank our official sponsors, General Sale Brick, Hernandez Station.
Here's pressure time right now. He's looking pretty good with one more brick to fit. We're going to see if it lands. Wow. This is actually kind of a master class in this. Typically what we'll see is that last brick go in, and they'll end up having to adjust a handful of brick behind it to be able to make sure that all the head joints land at 3/8 of an inch. You can see the confidence level in Brandon McClanahan. He is taking all the time he needs to make sure that this wall is straight. He's got a little bit of an edge at the moment, it looks like, in total brick count. Now, by the end of this competition, that might not mean anything. We've seen several competitors lay up to 750, sometimes upwards of 800 brick, but by the time we adjust for quality, that number drops down dramatically. So he knows that he does not need that. He does not need that. He's got plenty of time in his pocket right now. He's able to take the time. He puts that stability level on the wall. He knocks it back straight, making sure that there's no plumbing issues. We talked just briefly a minute ago about some strategies on spreading. We saw Aiden spreading one side of the wall at the time. We saw Josh spreading one side of the wall at the time. Brandon knows that he's going to be able to fill in this course before time is up, so he is definitely spreading both sides of this wall.
15 minutes left. 15 minutes left.
Again, we absolutely love seeing some family teams out here. That is his little brother, Justin, tendering for him. I asked him if he was going to have to put his hair up in a bun. He's got all kinds of hair on his head. But he said he didn't want to put it in a man bun. He said with the amount of hair he has, it's more like a man croissant, right? It's bigger than a bun. So we're really glad to have some youth out here. And honestly, we've seen already some of the younger guys competing. We have a junior bricklayer coming up directly after this show. So really cool to see some of youth in this industry, because it's such a fantastic living that these kids can make. So we want to make sure that everyone knows the opportunities afforded to them in the masonry industry.
Really important for our community, keeping the industry strong. For our young students here from Green County High School and from North Carolina, we do appreciate you coming on out here today to participate and learn about a wonderful thing called masonry. 14 minutes left. 14 minutes left. 14 minutes left.
14 minutes left for everyone at home. Again, you can see his speed slowing down. He knows he's not nearly as comfortable on the backside as he is on the front side. But again, he's got a small lead right now. It looks like in total brick count. So he's making sure every brick counts.
Mason only, by the way, will be tooling, and the vendor was pointing out all of any of the boards. Compare and clean and have a beautiful working wall. We also have a Mason's Award. Anybody who able to follow this week, will be sure to be automatically deemed the best bricklayer for craftsmen. So we have a prize for $200.
Looks like he's only using about a 9-inch Marshalltown trowel. A lot of times we'll see some guys come out here with some very large blades on their trowel to be able to spread more brick at a time. This is obviously a trowel he uses all the time on the job site, so it's what he's comfortable with. But no surprise, those are fantastic products that Marshalltown puts out.
12 minutes left.
See what happens when you come around, Will?
He's giving us some grief, ladies and gentlemen, but it's actually a good learning opportunity. This is where we can see that as these joints get a little bit tight, he's going to have to shift each brick down a little bit. And look, he barely touched them and was still able to create just enough of a gap in these bricks, shifting all the way down to make sure that he stays within tolerance.
Thank you very much for all the many years of supporting the community here in the Tri-City. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your regional support. What you do is find all the equipment you need to make this wonderful competition a success. Also, I'd like to thank you support from French support coming on out here today, sponsoring and helping us out. So, they're ready for us to be our national winners from the weekend in the Las Vegas Nevada. Sevilla, you haven't seen this person still, called Steve Sevilla. We're here today, we're at National Fight, we want to thank you for coming on out.
It's not a great shot as far as the actual visual, but it's interesting to see. Almost every one of these masons has laid from left to right if they are right-handed, meaning their right hand is able to cut the mortar flush and hit the head joint. It makes a lot more sense why he's having to butter the front of every brick. He is laying from right to left. A little bit unusual for what you'll see out here, but when that happens, he knows that he has to get a head joint on the mortar. He won't be able to cut and hit at the same time. That is why he has done this head joint concept, but it sounds like this is something he's exceptionally comfortable with day to day on the job site.
We have 10 minutes left. 10 minutes left. Are we ready to see who's on the baby? Tennessee best bricklayer? We can go! I know we will. Coming shortly after we get on the subject. All right, we got Campbell here. 9 minutes left. 9 minutes left. 5 minutes left. Let's get what we got now. Please let us 5 minutes, everybody.
We are under 10 minutes right now.
Push it.
A little bit different of a situation. We are seeing Tim laying opposite as well. He is laying from his right-hand side to his left-hand side. He did that on purpose, though. The way he spread the wall right before we came over here, it gave him less motion. So instead of spreading the wall, running back to one side to be able to lay from left to right, he was able just to stay right there on the end he was on and start laying his way back. So really intelligent move to not have wasted motion out here.
Work smarter, not harder.
That's right. Tim just said it, working smarter, not harder. Doing it a little bit different than Aiden. He's actually buttering the back side, or what is really considered the front side on the working side of the brick, instead of hitting the back side like Aiden did every brick lay.
One more. Oh yeah, we got time for one more.
Look, he's like, I already know what's going to be playing. Button right here.
We're back to Josh Coleman right now. We can tell that each time he is spreading, you can hear him struggling. He's absolutely muscular in the forearms, so no doubt about that. The problem is, by this point in the competitions, the lower backs, the forearms are absolutely fried. So every time he picked up a trowel of that mortar, he knew he's going to have to give it everything he got. And that's really part of this competition. The ability to have the forearm strength and the lower back strength is crucial at this speed for this long of a duration. Often what we'll see as the forearms start to give, the trowel work becomes a little bit sloppy. When you watch guys spread this wall, often you'll watch the string line that they are using bounce all over the place. That's a guy who is not lifting that trowel up quite high enough to get over the string line to spread the actual mortar itself. So that's something we'll kind of keep an eye out for as we go.
We're really excited for our two bricklayers and workforce development. We are coming down for the last 5 minutes here in a few seconds. 5 minutes and a few seconds here.
Ladies and gentlemen, with only about 5 minutes left, we had to bring you back to the stall. This is the stall that had 10 courses high. It was a feat that he was going to be able to lay this many bricks, but somehow he has already built all the way down to the last 4. It's really, really impressive. the camera is showing one course on this side. He knows he's going to have to build a little bit of a lead if he wants to continue, but very, very impressive that he's able to build this many brick in just about half an hour. Well, 25 minutes actually, so very, very impressive.
4 minutes left. 4 minutes. 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left to the end of the second particular public area. 4 minutes left. Howard, how was he doing? How's he doing, Howard? All right, that's what I want to hear. It's on the right. University of Maryland. West Virginia. And go first. Give it a little. Don't put the turtle, man. Don't fear the turtle.
Here's another technique we don't see very often. So the rules state that you can lay brick up to 2 courses above your lead. Okay, so we're gonna take a look right here. We're gonna see that Brandon knew that he was more comfortable on the front side of the wall than the back side. That's pretty much everyone out here. So what he's done is he's actually, knowing he's only got 4 minutes left, he's laid a course, then he laid a course on top of it. Again, you're not gonna see that anywhere else in the competition, but this last few minutes he's got left, he wants to make sure he gets the maximum quality brick in the wall. So really, really impressive idea, something we very, very rarely see.
3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. Once again, our regional sponsors.
Taking his time with the plum. The good news is he started on a return the last time he was able to lay his lead. So as soon as this wall gets squared up, he's only going to have to put a couple of bricks down to get another course ready for his lead.
That's just for him too.
Thank you for all those national sponsors for making this wonderful masonry event a success, both regionally and nationally. Thank you so much for all your help.
Yeah, we just want Brandon using that Stabilila level to square up the end of the wall. He was able to beat it as hard as he needed to make sure it was nice and plumb. That's really the good thing about using levels that are not wood. You don't have any twisting, no issues when you beat it down. Really, really good to have a quality level like that.
2 minutes left. Make sure you get it really clean and make sure that you make your walls look good. 2 minutes under. 2 minutes, you got a minute and 40 seconds. 1 minute, 40 seconds left. 1 minute, 40 seconds left.
Another really neat idea. Instead of going back and building the wall, he knows that he can go up to 2 courses above the final completed course. So you'll see that he is spreading right now. What he is spreading is the middle of the wall. He's going to try to get a few brick in where he does not have to take any extra time building the leads.
left. 1 minute left to SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500 regional. 1 minute left. All right, let's give a big round of applause for our Mason.
As you can see, we're down to the last minute. He is taking his time. He spent about 2 minutes at the end of this competition taking his time, putting his level on 3 different points on the wall. That's going to be important in the judging. It doesn't have to just be plumb at the end. It's got to be plumb in the middle to make sure he has no hog or any kind of a rounding effect on that wall. So really good idea to make sure that he's going to be happy with this by the end of the competition.
15, 10, 9,
8 seconds, taking their time. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have completed the bricklaying competition at the SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500. So we are back for the tooling portion of this show. They only have about 20 minutes to tool both sides of this wall. show really does two things. One, it gives us a nice pretty picture to show you guys at home, finished looking product. But for architects, for owners, people that actually have the masonry going on their own projects, the tooling part is exceptionally important. Putting a nice concave joint on each one of these heads and beds actually seals the mortar to the brick, and that's going to reduce the amount of moisture that's going to be able to penetrate the wall. So really important on the actual job site. But this is something that we do to make sure that these guys get a full effect of what this masonry competition is all about.
Got one back here. See it right here? Bam. Oh yeah.
So in the last stall we saw Josh, he was using the mortar directly in his hand. He actually had a glove on his left hand when he picked up the mortar. Looks like Tim's been playing in this mud his whole life. He is more than happy to throw that mud in a bare hand.
He loves the mud. Tell him you eat it for breakfast sometimes.
Little grit in his teeth never hurt anyone. So yes, as you can see, it looks like he took the time to hit all the head joints first, and now he's working his way back through the bed joints. Aiden doing it a little bit different. He's starting with the back side of his wall. Gonna be a little bit hard to see, but his tender is actually taking the time to take his tape measure, and he's pointing out anything he sees that looks a little bit thin. So what they're doing right now is they're filling in some voids as he moves. This is the only time the mason and the tender, for that matter, are able to go to the back side of the wall. I've seen a lot of tooling. This might be the most efficient I have ever seen in my life. He is putting that hand directly beside any and every head joint he sees. That way, if it looks a little bit thin, he moves his index and his thumb to be able to drop a little bit of mud into place. So very impressive work right here. Looks like Charlie is using a S joiner. It seems to be the most popular that we've seen so far. Instead of holding mortar in his hand, he's grabbing it from the top of the wall. That is mortar that was extra on that that he spread earlier in the competition.
9 minutes left. 9 minutes left.
5 minutes left.
9 minutes left.
9
minutes left.
Yep, 9 minutes left, which means we're a little bit over halfway. These guys should be making their way to the other side of the wall.
9 minutes left.
Here's another technique we see a little bit more often. Some of these guys are holding that mortar in their hand. Looks like Brandon's done a little bit of tuck point work. Looks like Brandon's done a little bit of tuck point work in his life, because he is using that trowel almost like a hawk. He's actually taking the time to put the mortar on the trowel and pull the mud as he needs it. Again, these guys had to shake up the mortar a little bit at the end, these tenders did, to make sure it's nice and sticky, so when he grabs this mortar, it's able to come right off the trowel onto his joiner and then directly into the joint.
Back and hit the bedroom.
What?
Back and hit the bedroom. I mean, we need somebody to tell you something, man.
I'm telling Mom on you.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot of work to fill in this many voids. He knows he's only got 20 voids to play with to make sure he does not get hit, but it looks like he's taking a little extra time to make sure this wall looks real pretty. My guess is Brandon doesn't just want to try to win this competition, he'd like to win Craftsman.
6 minutes left. 6 minutes left.
Looks like Aiden did a pretty good job of making sure that he didn't have a whole lot of voids. He had plenty of mortar in the bed joint as he laid the brick, so he's not having to do a whole lot of filling in. In fact, I'm sure his tender's pretty happy about that, knowing he doesn't have to point too much out. A little bit of pressure off of him. You can see he's got a little bit bigger of a joiner. It's the same concept, same concave joint. It's just a little bit longer than the typical S joiner we see out here. My guess is, as this competition continues, we're going to get to see other types of joiners. Yeah, so I had a feeling we're going to see something more than just a typical S joiner. This is what we call a sled runner. You can see the length on that thing is absolutely massive considering the S joiners we've seen so far. On the head joints, it doesn't do him much of an advantage, but with that length going down the bed joints, it's going to allow him to strike almost 1.5 foot, let's say 16 inches at a time, instead of having to move that joiner all the way across the wall. We're going to stay tight on here. It looks like the tender is making sure he knows what voids he's missing. He's going to go ahead and put his pointer up. Yep, no surprise. He's pointing them out as he sees them. He's going to make sure he knows where to come back to fill in as he moves.
You got it, Bubba Gunk. The old ball course.
Yeah.
Right overhand bricklaying, no joke.
They're having a little bit of a conversation about it now. He knows he's got a little bit of a gap on that very first course on the back side of his wall. That's something he's going to fill in just a minute. I guarantee he is waiting to hear how much time he has left. He's getting it as pretty as he can right now, making it nice and concave. Then he's going to come back and tuck.
4 minutes left to the conclusion of the SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500 Regional.
We stopped talking so we could hear how much time was left. It sounds like about 4 minutes, my guess is. In the next minute or two, he's going to come back, tuck that entire back bottom joint in the second course coming on the back side of the wall. Alright, here's the S joiner we just saw Aiden use. As you can see, he has decided that the double technique is going to work better. He's using a long sled runner. It is completely flat. It does not have the S-curve that our last competitor just used. So you can see not only is he using one, but he's decided that two trowels, meaning the S-joiner, is going to be better for the heads. This is going to be better for the beds. He's got a system in place, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, the Usain Bolt of bricklaying, if I've ever seen it. With only a couple of minutes left, it looks like Brandon's feeling a little bit of pressure to get it finished up. He was moving it from his trowel to the wall in the beginning. Now he knows speed-wise he's got to just put it in his bare hand and keep it moving.
What? Smooth it out. I ain't got time for this. No, none. No big ones. No big ones.
All the junior bricklayers, report for the competition area. Steve Bell, please report to this bricklayer 500 junior bricklayer.
Down to the last minute.
1 minute left.
We just saw this a minute ago. We knew the entire, well, let's say about 10 bricks on that first course was completely unfilled. We took about 3 minutes, came back, and now he has filled that entire course. So very, very impressive work. Very, very impressive speed.
1 minute. Coming down to 10 seconds. We're ending the bricklayer 500. We got 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. 30 seconds. 30 seconds left.
Guys and gals, I know you are probably sitting on your couch watching this. You're sitting in your computer chair in your office, but feel free to count with us at home. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And a big round of applause. I don't care if you're by yourself. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with a crew from Ford. They have been so fantastic to deal with nationwide, but it's really, really exciting for us to get to spend a little time with some of the local dealers. So if you don't mind, will you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm James Moffitt, Friendship Ford.
James?
Love, Friendship Ford. Josh Love, Friendship Ford.
Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit about yourselves, because we don't know a lot of these local dealers, and we're really, really excited to get to meet you guys.
Well, we're excited to be out here to see this, to see what's going on. It's been an inspiration for me to see these young people working on this. And what we're here for is to represent Ford Motor Company and commercial trucks that we sell at our dealership. Dump trucks like this one, F750 and F250 over here with a service body. Inventories are hard to get right now, but we're there. We're ordering for everybody and hope that we can get you out to do business with us.
Dude, that's absolutely tremendous. We're gonna pan this camera all the way around just to kind of give you an idea of what the guy who wins this competition could be driving home from in Vegas. See this gray Ford over here, the 250, absolutely beautiful vehicle. We are so excited for one of these guys to fly out to Vegas and have a real shot at driving that thing home. And I'll be honest with you, it sounds crazy, but in the past, some of the winners out in Vegas didn't just get a coupon, drive back to the local dealer, pick one up. Every once in a while they say, I want this truck so bad, I'll take that one, and they get in it and drive it all the way across the country home. So really, really cool vehicles. The fact that you guys have something so incredible that they just have to have at that exact moment. So very, very cool. You guys, what's the best way to find you? You got a phone number, you got a website, do you have anything like that you guys want to give out for anyone that's around this area?
Our website's called friendshipford.com. You can go on there, it's got a number on there, it's a local number.
All you have to do is click the commercial link up on the top. When you click that link, it'll have, when it pulls up, it'll have a link page there where you can actually look at a number there and actually put your information in there as well.
That's great. Gentlemen, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for the time. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
We
all
appreciate
of you,
it.
yeah?
Thank you.
Hey, and you guys make sure you check out Friendship Ford, okay? We are back with Rich Morris with Stabilo. Rich, you take that hand off that beautiful level and give me a handshake.
Right on.
Rich has been so incredible for us, not only coming out and giving away some of the levels for the guys that have been competing like we talked about earlier, but supporting the industry in general. The amount of time and effort these guys put in is unreal, honestly unparalleled. So Rich, do me a favor, introduce yourself. What do you do? What do you have?
Yeah, so my name is Rich Morris. I'm the Eastern Regional Manager for Stabilo Levels. Been part of the brand now for over 20 years. And what's great about this is grassroots. This is where it all starts. So when you look over on the side, they did the juniors competition. These are kids that are going to be masons, and they're showing the best of their skills and the best of their craft. And when they go to that side of the arena, they're seeing the pros. The guys compete for the big leagues. What Stabilo has done is we've introduced tools that are specific to the masons' needs, and partners like SPEC MIX and the Masonry Association over there in North Carolina with Ryan Shaver. What's great about the program is that we're supporting the category with our levels every day. And when you go to a job site, you're seeing more and more Stabilo levels. Before it was a wood world. We know the wood won't last forever, but this aluminum will. And we thank everybody for your help and everything you do for us. So likewise, like I said, we look forward to doing more with the program. If you have any questions, go to stabilo.com.
Rich, thank you so much.
You got it,
Again,
brother.
from the bottom of our hearts, we can't tell you how thrilled we are to have you guys a part of this show. So thank you again.
I
yeah?
appreciate it. Thank you.
With all the calculations, we are ready to go. To announce our third place winner with an adjusted brick count from stall number 8, Jenkins Masonry, bricklayer Tony Woodson, and Johnny Pendergrass, adjusted score of 372 brick. Come on up to the stage. Come up to the
Tony's
stage.
first time bricklayer taking a top 3 spot. Very impressive.
First year, I ain't bad. I know, I'll tell you what. A hat for you guys,
Hold on 1 minute, gentlemen.
Pretty good.
Hold up, hold up, hold up.
Woo!
All right, gentlemen, step on now. Thank you very much. Give a big round of applause to our third place. Tony and Johnny.
Hey, Joe, can you get pictures of the guys at the Ford truck for me?
Second place winner with an adjusted brick count of 443 brick. Stall number 6 from McClellan Masonry, Brendan McClellan and Justin McClellan. Come on up.
Oh, Steve, sorry.
Get the checks. Joe just got their pictures for third. If you want to give them the two. Second place. Yep, third is with Joe.
Thank you. Sorry about that, gentlemen.
Second place, I'm get the 50 tender. This will have for you guys.
Hey, Joe, come here. Give this to them.
And here's the third place.
Third place. Can you give us the
What's in the asset? I'll get the right side.
All right, great job, guys. Give her up.
Joe, we'll get you to get them all.
Let's give a big round of applause to Brandon and Justin. Our craftsman winner is anybody who weighs 500 brick or less, or 500 brick with 1 deduction. That contestant is going to be in stall number 7 from A&D Masonry, Aiden Valdivia and Salvador Cruz. With an adjusted brick count of 563 brick.
Couple towels for you. I got some more hats. Hey, these on the right size. You see me afterwards, and you'll switch them out, okay? This is large and large. Plus, there's $200 cash. Remember to tip your tender. Okay.
Let's give
Stop by the Ford truck
a big round of applause to our second place, crest winner, Aiden and Salvador. But hold on, come on back, Salvador and Aiden, because you are our first place winners as well. With our adjusted brick count of 563 brick. Aiden Salvador, you are our East Tennessee SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500 Regional Champion. You are going to Las Vegas, Nevada. Congratulations, Aiden and Salvador. You earned it.
First place, first place. Hold the child up. He's got his hands full.
All right.
Stop by the truck. We'll get you a shot with the truck.
All right, this concludes our SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500 Regional here in Eastern Tennessee. I want to thank all our spectators, all our family members who came out to celebrate their loved ones, all our Masons attenders, junior bricklayers, all our sponsors regionally and nationally for coming on out today. Please be safe going home. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Friendship Ford, for coming on out, helping General Sales, Green and Masonry, and Grand Rapids Station. Thank you so much.
Hey Joe, you're going to get one of us forward with the winner. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the SPEC MIX BRICKLAYER 500. Normally we would cut the show, but I've got to at least shake these guys' hands. Well done, Aiden. Mr. Cruz, well done. Could not be more impressed. Did you expect to win today? At least tell me that. Did you think you're going to win? No. Even better, the surprise is legitimate, right? Real surprise. So all you guys at home, stay tuned because we've got several more regional bricklayers coming up and you'll see action just like this.